Segoli, Nadioliwas, Skanak Goga, Skanak Go. Greetings, what is the news? Are you with peace? I am with peace. It is an honor. It is a pleasure. It is week 5, people. You all have been phenomenal. You all are legends. You all are incredible people. I hope you're taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It has been so profoundly powerful to put our minds together, as we say in Oneida, so be it in our minds. But it has been really grateful. I've had a lot of gratitude, I should say, for all of you and just being able to learn from all of you in this learning experience. It's just been really powerful. So as we go into another talking circle here, as I bring out my eagle feather box from my great uncle Leonard, I have our eagle feather. Just want to say, I have a lot of gratitude for you all right now. It's just as each one of these classes, I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm not sure how you all are going to react to me and what I'm providing in the class, but there's just been so much respect and sharing. And I've just been really grateful to be a part of that. So with that being said, let's go over our week 5 as we are here in circle and community together. Starting this slideshow from the beginning. So I want to start with this quote right here. It's from this artist named Greg Deal, an Indigenous artist. From 2018, it says, "Today I was asked, what is most important to Indigenous people? The land, protecting traditions, your language, or your people? I told him, those are all the same things." Those are all the same things, being land, protecting traditions, language, and the people. And I think about this too for as Oneida people. The word for ourselves as Oneidas are Ugwe Uwe. That means Oneida. And Oneada Aga means people of the standing stone. So that's another name for ourselves, which is in reference to a geographic location up in what is now upstate New York. When I think about people like the Dene, which is the Navajo word for Navajo, meaning the people, and how place is just so closely associated to identity as well too. I think about people for the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota people in modern day northern, which is also, it's located in what is now recognized as North and South Dakota. However, this is still the sovereign land of these people of the Lakota, Dakota, Nakota, otherwise known as the Standing Rock or Oglala Sioux tribe. And for these people, the Black Hills is extremely sacred. So as we are going through here, speaking of the Black Hills, in 1980, the Supreme Court awarded the 9 tribes constituting the Oglala Sioux $105 million for the illegal seizing of the sacred Black Hills, which broke the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie. In 2011, this trust value had increased to $1.3 billion. The tribes refused the money as they believe accepting the funds would constitute a transaction of a sale of lands, and the tribal nation leaders emphasized how the land was never for sale. So just how sacred for the Black Hills is. It's believed this is where the people emerged from, their actual identity as a people, their origins and genesis. One idea, if I had a magic wand and could wave it over a situation, something I've wanted to do for a while now, would be to have a co-stewardship of all state and national parks with the indigenous tribal nations from each area. So tribes that are here today and tribes that were in each of these geographic places respectively throughout history. I think that having co-stewardship of all these state and national parks would be a really large step, I think, symbolically, and I also think economically in terms of reparations and recognizing of whose land we are on, as we have this land back movement, and how do you do that appropriately? And so we look at the previous case of the Black Hills for the Lakota, Dakota, Nakota people, saying it's not the money we're land is what we're after. Land is what we're connected to. So I think this would be really important for having people having access to ceremonies, as throughout Supreme Court law, there's been different cases where indigenous peoples were still not able to have their practices. It would be in 1978, the Native American Religious Freedom Act, which would grant Native American people the supposed right to be able to practice their own religion and practices. But even in 1996, with the reaffirmation of the Religious Freedom Act, even then there were certain cases where Native Americans still were not covered underneath this for their religious practices, particularly when it comes to in relation to land, being able to carry out ceremony. So a couple documentaries, particularly about this, would be In the Light of Reverence. Really good documentary. If you have a chance to, I believe it's $4 on Vimeo to rent. I would highly recommend watching this 75-minute documentary and really about some of the legal aspects as well too, about how the Black Hills were illegally seized and how this constructed on these, which were not supposed to be touched, were Mount Rushmore, which has become this monument supposed to be recognizing democracy in the United States, when in actuality, these are sacred hills that are not supposed to be touched or built upon, and how it is illegal to climb up Mount Rushmore or to, if you were to deface it in any way. However, this is really what has been happening is that is really the defacing of the Black Hills for these Standing Rock people. Another film, Sacred Planet, came out in 2004. That's on Disney Plus for anyone who has that, but it's just a good film to seeing it, people's connection to the land and the sacred land, the sacred planet. So for week 5 reading for you all in our nice book that we're on right now, we're reading chapter 5 and chapter 6. Chapter 5 is when people act as if they have no relatives. So it's a theme and a term you've heard throughout, but it's one that will be unpacked a little bit more. And then also perceptions of justice. And this idea of perceptions of people being more open-minded to an open system as well too, where people have more input into what is going on. So perhaps restorative justice would be more of that option as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing all of your responses on that, as always, through Canvas. Honestly, you all just blow me away. It's phenomenal that we can all be looking at the same text and things that I've read before, but having your perspectives on it, it's like reading a whole new text for me. It's like you read the text and the text reads back at you, and everybody's able to share their perspectives, and it's just so powerful when we're able to put our minds together. So Yawonko, thank you. Danke Shane. Big ups team. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Week 5 videos here. So 4 of them here. This would be 5, the one you're watching right now. But the first is a music video by Prolific the Rapper, and also by a tribe called Red. I believe now that they're called the Hallucination. And the song is Black Snakes, and it's all about the Dakota Access Pipeline in 2016, and really the protest in different indigenous peoples. And there's a powerful point there about halfway through the video where there's a phone call being made to the Morton County Sheriff's Department, and a person is making a complaint and saying, I want to report an attack that's being made on people. People are being shot up with fire hoses. People are being shot at. When I went out to Standing Rock, I remember one of the people there, they said, have you ever seen rubber bullets before? I was like, no, I've never seen a rubber bullet. And they put it in my hand and said, this is what they're shooting at us with. I said, have you ever seen the riots with like the bean bags they shoot? I've never seen those. They put one of those in my hand as well too. So this is what they're shooting at us. And once they ran out of those, they started shooting just actual BB, just the straight BBs that went inside there as well too. So there's a point where someone's calling and saying, people need help. And they're saying, okay, well, yes, if there's police already on site and it's already been reported, and the person is saying the police are the one who are causing the harm. Say, who do we go to? Who protects us from the police? There's a pause. And the person says, well, I guess if you want to go up the chain of command, the next stop would be the governor's office. So it's just profoundly impactful to me when I think about how important legislators are, people who make our laws, people who are elected officials, people who have the power to make systemic change. That to me inspires me to want to run for public office, to continue running for public office after having ran for mayor a few years ago and being a neighborhood city councilman just nearly a decade ago. It's definitely inspiring to try to want to be the change you want to see in the world. Next video, a message from Russell Means, a leader of the American Indian movement. This is a message from years ago, but it just speaks the immediacy of the message is, I hope it's not lost on you. I'm just talking about how to preserve Mother Earth and the sacred nature of it and our responsibility as human beings. Chief Warren Lyons addressing the United Nations, speaking about climate change, another powerful video. And he has this theme. It talks about how Mother Earth has no mercy. Like there is no mercy in like that justice, which is Mother Earth, and the environmental justice and the laws that no matter how we feel about it, or if you try to disagree with it, that the laws will have their way, and that people sometimes they talk. Chief Warren Lyons says that that Mother Earth has all the time in the world as it goes. That we as human beings, we may leave, but Mother Earth will still be here after. But and it will heal and recover. But what is our responsibility, and how do we stay here as human beings? And how do we create a better life for 7 generations to come? Big questions as we're here talking about Earth and nature this week. And the Navajo Water Lady, beautiful, profound story about this woman in the Navajo Nation who brings water to many of the people who don't have access to running water, and to give them this gift, our first medicine, which we as human beings are comprised of I believe, at least 60% water, and our planet is comprised of, I believe, of 70% water. So a very powerful video is just that sacred relationship with water, as we've been focusing on throughout the semester as well too. Okay, some optional videos, as the elephant in the room here would be Thanksgiving is coming around the corner. So again, Indigenous people are not a monolith. So there's a wide range of spectrum of how people feel about this day. I'm just trying to give you my perspective and perspective of some other people as well too. But by no means I want to be the Grinch here and try to ruin the day for you. I'm just trying. It is wonderful to give thanks. It is wonderful to spend time with family. It is wonderful to spend time with friends. And I encourage you to do all these things. As I speak here on this week, I just wanted to give you some optional points if you want to learn more about the day and perhaps from an Indigenous perspective. And as a key theme is acknowledge, educate, and honor. So that's what I'm going to try to do right now. So the first video here is looking for Wampanoag people, and starting in 1970, how Thanksgiving has become a national day of mourning, where people talk about this true history of Indigenous people and how, yes, in 1621, there was a political entente. There's really a political pact for survival between the Wampanoag people and the Pilgrims. Really, the Wampanoags, they had rivals with another tribe basically around the corner. So they had this agreement, this pact with the Pilgrims, really out of survival and necessity. At one point, the Pilgrims in 1621 were putting off a display of their firearms, their guns, and the Wampanoag, who thought that the Pilgrims were at war, had come to their aid, and they realized that there was no war. They were just displaying their weapons. They were invited to stay, but I believe, paraphrasing here, needed to get their own food. So the Wampanoag ended up bringing deer. I think eel was also another food that might have been eaten around the area as well. So I don't think there's turkey or stuffing to my knowledge. But anyways, this idea that there's that even after that 1621 day, it would be 1637, which is disputed if this happened around Thanksgiving, but it is a fact that it happened, I believe, in June. But it would be Governor John Winthrop gave thanks for the safe return of different people who went and massacred over 700 Pequot people, who were men, women, and children in their sleep, and they burnt their village down. And it was giving thanks for the safe return of these people. So Thanksgiving had been made through proclamations of giving thanks for harvest, of giving thanks for and victory of battles, like during the Revolutionary War, and also I believe over some battles or massacres with Indigenous peoples, which was a good point pointed out by Jason as well too. If it's United States going against Native Americans, it's oftentimes considered a battle. But if it's Native Americans fighting back, it's against the colonists, it's often considered a massacre. And that was a great point of rhetoric and that semantics of viewpoints there. So a few more points about that National Day of Mourning. A descendant here of a person from the Wampanoag, he's talking about how after the Wampanoag had this agreement, there was a point after where the colonists, they end up taking one of the Wampanoag people's heads and putting them on a stake, on a spear, and leaving it out there for, I believe it's 24 years. And also they cut off one of the leaders of the hands for the Wampanoag. They put them in a jar. The people would like show them to people at like bars and different things. They would give people like drinks or different things. They're like, oh wow. So it's tough, when we think about this day, when I think about the history of why we come together for this day. And I think that so many people do have no idea about perhaps what had taken place for this true history, and how it's a very known history for some people and very unknown for others. And again, a wide spectrum of how people feel about this day. So just trying to present you with some options here. Alcatraz Island, from 1978 to 1981, there was an occupation by Indians of all tribes. So each year on what is now considered Indigenous Peoples Day, formerly known as Columbus Day, and Columbus also had over 5,000 Indigenous slaves, which is now considered Indigenous Peoples Day. There'll be a big celebration at Alcatraz, where I've had a chance to go as well in 2017, where Indigenous people from all over Turtle Island, North and South America, allies from all over the world get to come and celebrate cultures and ceremony, just in remembrance of those who came before us, and celebration of survival and celebration for 7 generations to come. And this is also done at Alcatraz during Thanksgiving as well too. There'll be a large celebration for that. And I think it's the 52nd anniversary is going to be this upcoming week. Another perspective here of just some people talking about different Native Americans on Thanksgiving. Again, a wide spectrum of different beliefs. You don't have to be you don't have to believe a certain thing to be a certain way. I believe there's as many different ways to be Native American as there are Native American people. So not a monolith here. And then last year, I believe, if not mistaken, was the first year of a land acknowledgement at the Macy's parade. My sisters always loved the Macy's parade growing up. So it was pretty cool last year seeing this land acknowledgement by different Indigenous peoples. So if you get a chance to watch that video, I'll put all the links of these as well to in an announcement on Canvas in case you're curious and checking it out more. So Yalwanko for humoring me and checking this out right now. And also just talking about that, Yalwanko for your words on healing. And there's in this one of the last videos here, one of the people this talks about is that if I focus on the negative, I'm just going to dwell on the negative. But for me, I need to be on the positive. So acknowledge what happened. Yes, talk about the true history, educate people on what actually happened, but then take those people by the hand, take those people out to a meal and tell them this is our Thanksgiving, and to share that with them from the heart and not just from the head. But that to me, that's like the healing in response to this of kind of that National Day of Mourning, Day of Remembrance, Day of Thanksgiving. But thank you so much. I'm learning so much from you all. It's amazing to hear your words of wisdom, and Yalwanko, thank you. And for this week, I want you all to say nothing wrong with giving gratitude. I think it's great to give gratitude every single day. And my partner, my wife, Julia, oftentimes in the morning will ask me what I'm thankful for. At the end of the day, will ask me 3 things I'm thankful for. And I have this book I love. I love graphic novels and comic books, and this superhero therapy book. And at one point in the storyline, it's having all these people who are going through the therapy. What are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? And at different points in the story, people are thankful for, I'm thankful for my gifts to be able to help other people. I'm thankful for peace. And at one point, this one character, they're still unable to find what they're thankful for throughout the story. He said, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm thankful for. I don't know. And they're separated from their family. And at one point, they're finally reunited with their family back at the end of it. And they just say, this is what I'm thankful for, as they have their family in their arms. So I just want you all to think about that. We give thanks, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, but I give thanks to the great creator. And just as we're here on Mother Earth and Turtle Island, just giving thanks for life, giving thanks to be able to put our minds together and think. It's really is truly a gift. And to be able to have this conversation that we're having right now, it really is a gift. So this is just a broader view of restorative justice. For some of you who are more familiar with RJ, this is maybe something you've seen before, or if you're newer to it, maybe this is something you have not seen before. But I've heard what is explained as a 3-tier system for restorative justice. So tier 1, this is oftentimes done for community building. So I would consider what we're doing in real time with our talking circle on GroupMe, I would consider that a community circle in terms of us building community, strengthening relationships, and getting to know one another better. I think tier 2, which is repairing relationships. And you'll oftentimes, I think you're seeing this with Chief Justice Robert Yazzie, and you're seeing these with the different cases that are happening in our readings as well too. So restorative circles in RJ conference, responding to conflict and repairing harm. One option I really like in the text as well too, this notion of shuttle diplomacy. So this idea that if you're a peace, like a circle keeper, a peacemaker, that if you would be able to move between parties, if they were unable to be in the same room together, that you would be able to really relay these messages in the way of shuttle diplomacy as well too. But really the tier 2 overall is just, it's looking at this conferencing, it's looking at how do you repair harms? Oftentimes I've heard this as harms, needs, solutions, or harms, needs, recommendations in that horizontal system of justice. Then tier 3 is that re-entry. So if there was a time where somebody was returning to a group of people, or to try to bring someone back into a community, I think that's definitely a great point in RJ as well too, of maybe when people who have committed harms and they're trying to come back into the community, how do you reintegrate those people, and how do you do that successfully, creating harmony in the community, not just the absence of conflict, but the presence of community, the presence of support, presence of harmony. So this is just a few different looks at that tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, which you may hear in the restorative justice world. And as we are looking here at this medicine wheel, just a reminder, just to keep taking care of ourselves, the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. I think it's very easy to get caught up in one of those as we go through the motions, but really to find balance, and really just to find balance of how that is for you. And everyone's going to be different, but I really encourage you just to find some time this week to recharge the batteries and to take care of all those different points that you're seeing right here. And let's see here. Yes, so I want to finish off with the words of Prolific the Rapper here, a person who is Lakota and also Latino and white as well too. But Prolific the Rapper says, every group of human beings shares the same stars. And if the earth is not your mother, are you from Mars? So as we give thanks to the Creator, we give thanks being here on Mother Earth and on Turtle Island this week. I just encourage you all to think about that. If the Earth is not your mother, are you from Mars? So I think that all of us as human beings, that we are here on this Earth, we're in this together. So I encourage you all to keep taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I really do. I care about you. I care about you a lot. Kanalunkwa means I love you in Oneida. Ain't nobody loves you. Dr. Reed loves you. LaGuardia loves you. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a great week. And I look forward to putting our minds together. So be in our minds. Here's to week 5, people. Y'all want go.